So, welcome back to the Stream of Thought after about a week and 1 day of waiting. I'll get onto that as why that's the case. I went back and listened to like the first minute of the first stream and realized that YouTube apparently made the my voice a lot quieter when uploading it. It sounded fine in Premiere and when I like listened to it raw, but when I uh, when I put it into YouTube, it made me sound really quiet. So I upped the what's it called, the voice recording volume. That's it. And I'm sorry once again. I'm just still terrified of other people walking in on seeing this, which is going to lead to me reflexively hitting pause every time I hear a noise coming out from anywhere. Once again, I'm in a public place, but now I'm in even more of a public place, as you can probably hear the. Like I said, I'm even in a more public place because I'm right next to where the washing machines and everything else is. Somebody is here, and I don't know who it is because I can't see them from where I'm sitting. This is the struggles that I work with every day. Is it somebody in the hallway, or is it just somebody? No, somebody's trying to use the elevator. I'm just gonna pause it to avoid any more embarrassment. Okay, so I think now everybody is cleared out from this area except for me. I should just go into a recording room. That really would have just helped me get this done before it was the next day that I was supposed to record this on. Yeah, the reason this is on Saturday instead of Friday as it normally should be is because for first off, I overslept, meaning that my project that I was going to do in the beginning of the day, i.e., cleaning my room, got pushed back, and I had to wait for my roommate to leave and, do it while he was gone. Um, I I also had like homework to do, stuff like that. And to top it all off, there was a swim meet that I was gonna go to for that, and I went to the swim meet, and I never realized just like if you don't know people on the team, I never realized just how boring swim meets could get. Like I knew some people on the swim team, don't get me wrong, but I don't know a lot, and I can only entertain myself for so long before I like get really bored. But then like as even with all that, it wasn't enough to like it was like 9 o'clock and I was ready to sit down and hit record. But this couple walked in and started watching a terrible horror movie right next to me while like getting all close to each other, all touchy feely stuff like that. And I really couldn't ask them to leave because like they have a right to be here. They can do whatever they want while they're here. And who am I to say that they can't be here and do their own thing? So, yeah, I'm recording this at midnight, 12:35 actually. It's way past midnight, and it's basically going to be me recapping my week. And I didn't this is like a very unintended side effect, but I started writing in a notebook like notes and stuff to talk about while on the stream because recording my thoughts is exactly what this is meant to be for. And the first week, like I came up with the idea like I think 2 days before I actually executed it. So I had like 3 pages of notes. For week two, I have well over double that. Two, four, six, 8, 9 pages. So actually tripled my last week's output for notes. I think quite a bit apparently. So, what do I have? It was my birthday this weekend, so that was a plus. I got to see my family. Got to got some brand new headphones that work very well. Aside from my being different from my last Bluetooth headphones that I had, these ones don't need to be switched on to actually work in wired mode, which is a plus. And they feel very durable as well. Like the Cowan ones were like very good, very cool, but once I got to see like the inside when they broke, I could see like their structural integrity wasn't that great to begin with. These ones feel, different. I feel like these ones are a lot more structurally sound than the Cowan ones that I had before. Um, Also on my birthday, me and my roommate found a bunch of we found a bunch of sound bites for Pokemon cries, and I made a ringtone for Zedge of Guzzlord just screaming nonstop. I thought it was hilarious, but Zedge apparently thought that that wasn't good for their content policies, and they took it down. And I should work on that to see. I'm gonna work on that over the weekend to see if I can get it back up. But I, it was just something really funny. I He now has it as his alarm, I think, for a certain day. I don't know when. I left before I could hear it the next day. That was funny. That was really cool. Um. So as I'm going right now in school right now, I don't have a major quite yet. But at the moment, I'm leaning towards uh, media studies and communication, which is a new major that our school is putting out right now. And I'm kind of excited about it actually because uh, from thought I heard another person come by. From what I've seen, it's a lot of stuff that like goes right up my alley as far as like what I love to do and stuff like that. Basically put, we were looking for like sorry, hang on. Basically put, we were looking for jobs as part of like the intro to communications course that I'm taking right now. We were looking at jobs and such and like what sort of thing we would like what sort of things we would like to do with our communication major. And a lot of the things that I found was stuff like, well, most notably like a content creation job for the National Sports Center in Minneapolis, which, granted it'll probably give some restrictions, but if my brother's history of restrictions has anything to do with it, I could absolutely run with that. Um, and also I'm just like really excited because like for the first time in a long time, I feel like I know what I'm like looking for as far as like stuff that I'm going to do in my future, and that's pretty cool for me because anybody who knew me before knows that I've been very like wishy-washy in whatever I wanted to be when I grew up. They would ask like, "What do you want to be when I grow up?" And I would always be like, I don't know. I'm still looking, still working on it." And inside, I'm just like, "Oh, you have no clue, man." And yeah, now I'm actually making progress towards that, and I feel pretty good. I'm trying to find the notes I had for it because there was a pretty funny one. Just give me a second, I'll pause here. So I was looking at jobs, and one of them was a job for as an editorial and social media intern for a Christian fellowship. And one of the reviews for this job stated the team I the team I was sent with was amazing. Everyone there was on fire for Jesus Christ. And I feel like that's supremely bad wording for talking about any sort of religion job, really. It kind of, for me, it just kind of sends the bad. uh, it sends the bad message, if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, like I guess I just didn't understand the type of job market that I could be a part of. I don't know. It's You probably hear this a lot from people that are like, uh, you probably hear this a lot from people that are telling you when you're going into college to be like, you never know what jobs are out there unless you go look. And I always kind of like brushed off those words of advice as like, yeah, whatever. Everyone says it. I'll be fine if I just figure things out. And sometimes you just gotta listen to people because I did not know the kind of jobs that I could actually have until I like started looking for things that are like, hey, I like doing this kind of stuff. Is there a job that I could do for it? And because of the rise of YouTube and social media stuff like that, content creators for like businesses and such are is an actually legitimate job, and like not so much for like being the hashtag YouTuber thing that everybody secretly wants to be, but not everybody's able to do it. But like, if you've ever seen a advertisement for Sports Center, those kinds of stuff is like right up my alley, and I would love to do that kind of stuff, like little skits that probably have little to do with probably have little to do with the actual thing itself. But like, I don't know. I could I could probably do a lot with that and have a lot of fun with it too. There's just a thump upstairs. That's scary. You may have caught my little slip up there. I'm gonna try not to swear as much because in line with the whole like content creation thing, I realize that I may want like a backlog of good reputation to. I thought I heard somebody coming. I may want to have a backlog of like good reputable me being me to like make sure that I look good. So I like like try to tone down the super bad stuff. Not that you probably care anyway. Somebody's coming and I'm just gonna have to do a quick little pause. What was I talking about? Boy, ain't this just a roadblock of how I format this? But yeah, just like content creation stuff like that. Stuff like I think it's really I would really like to do kind of stuff like that. Just be able to create things that I think is fun, and other people would think is fun. Get paid to do stuff like that. I don't know. It seems it's probably a lot more strenuous uh than it like initially sounds out to be because pardon me, one of the one of the job offers that one of the job offers that was put up there was had like a soft skill that they wanted was somebody that was able to uh, work long hours, be open to criticism, and be like ready to be a team player or something like that. Basically, what it sounded to me was we need somebody who is able to take a bullet in case somebody messes up, or you're going to be working 20-hour days every single day. And with like editing and stuff, go figure, that stuff takes a lot of time. But like, my God, if I do go for something like that, it will be a slog. And I've been having trouble staying awake in classes at already. And imagine what will happen if I have to like be editing things constantly every single day. But I enjoy that kind of stuff. Maybe I could get away with doing that for the rest of my life. I say get away with it like doing something illegal, not doing something illegal. That's what I was talking about before I paused. Yeah, I needed like a backlog of me doing like me being me and being an actual good me instead of being the bad me. So, not that you really care or anything, you listener, but I'm just gonna like keep bad words to like a medium swearage, if that makes sense. Like I could say something like I could say things like shit, ass, or balls, stuff like that. Stuff that would make it like a kid, like a fifth grader laugh. Something like that. I probably wouldn't go for any like the hard ones, like you know what I'm talking about. One that I nearly slipped up on and other things. So like, maybe I'll throw it out once or twice if I'm like really upset about something or other things like that. But it's just gonna be me. That's what this is all for. Just me staring at a wall and talking to myself for about as long as I can keep myself going for. And speaking of being upset, as I said, I had the absolute time with a school computer the other day. To frame this, I had gotten done with my communication class at 11, no, at 9, what was it, 9:50. Yes, I got done at 9:50. So I went along and I was going to get lunch. It was a light lunch that I got, and my next class was at 12 o'clock. My next communication class, history and media. This is about this is a good 3 hour cushion, and I'm pretty good. So I sit around, I get lunch, it's fine. And right around like 10:40 ish, I'm like, all right, I need to print something for script analysis because I need like that hard copy in script analysis because everybody there is just like super hardcore about theater stuff, which is like the most inside culture that I have ever seen in the world. If you don't know, Stevens Point has a very passionate theater majors, and if you're not like in the NFAC to see like the events that go on, you will never ever. That's gonna be one. That's gonna be one benefit of getting a recording room. I won't have to worry about people. I won't have to worry about people directly judging me for having a microphone and looking like a complete loony in the middle of a public place. So as I was saying before, uh, if you're not like as part of like the group that operates in the Noel Fine Arts Center, then you are absolutely not going to be a part of any sort of thing that happens in there because like every sort of advertisement or every sort of thing that happens in there is only advertised inside that building, and anything like casting calls or events of like singing stuff or even like something like I don't know, like there's a student run organization called Players that is supposed to be like open to everybody on campus and like supposed to spur like involvement and interest in the drama and theater, but I've never seen any poster for it or even any messages on our online messaging app. I've never seen anything for it except for when I walked through the Noel Fine Arts Center, and I just get the feeling like, well, these people who are here are already interested in the stuff they're doing. Why do you have to advertise to them? That's strange. But long story short, I needed, uh, I needed a, uh, I needed a hard copy for an assignment that I was there for, that I was in script analysis for. Words are hard. So I went to the library at 10:45. Walked into the library, got on a computer, logged in, waited for about 20 minutes for this computer to boot. and it didn't. I swear one day I will get to a point where I won't have to continue pausing because people are walking around and doing, their life stuff. So yes, I was booting up the PC, waited for 20 minutes, and it didn't boot up. I then I then waited. I then like turned that computer off. It sucks. It's dead. Stupid. I go to another computer, turn that on, and I'm also waiting on that for 30 minutes. And like keep in mind, I've seen some other people walk to the computer that I had failed at and like log in, get what they need, and walk right out. So I don't know if it's like my account problem or if it's something that has to do with like loading too many people on that certain computer or something like that. I have no clue, but for some ungodly reason, all the computers were making me wait forever to log in and use it. And it does this annoying thing where it eventually does log into the it does eventually log into the main desktop, but it's all black and I can't interact with anything except for move the cursor around, which is really infuriating because at that point it's just like, yes, you are logged in, but we're still figuring things out in the background, so you can't do anything quite yet. All I needed to do, and I found this out later, was write in a text document for this assignment. I'm like, okay, I can do that. Uh copy paste from my phone to the text document, and it doesn't look good or something like that. But eventually I get to Word, so I'm like, I still need to print this out so I can have that hard copy. I I open up Word, and the other files that I had used before were not showing up. And now this isn't like an abnormal thing to happen. Word sometimes just like doesn't show the stuff that I have. All I have to do is just sign out, sign back in. I hit sign out, sign in, type in my email, get ready to type in my password because I have to type in my email, and then it sends me to a different screen where I have to type in my email again and then my password. But when I typed in my email and hit enter, it just exited out of the sign in process, meaning it didn't go through when I hit enter. And that happened every single time, no matter which version of the email that I put in. And I was just sitting there, and at this point, I am 10 minutes away from my class. I have to be out the door in the next 2 minutes, or I will be late. And I'm just sitting at the desk about to throw this computer across the room because for some ungodly reason it's not allowing me to sign in to a basic service that I have for my student account. And then I find out that I just need the text box at that point. And so I just use my phone, type in what I already had, and then I just like hopefully I don't need this hard copy, and I just get to class with 0 minutes to spare, mind you. I sprinted to class, arrived there out of breath, and my teacher was like very cool about it. She was very understanding about what happened, and then advised me that Mac computers, while while they do suck, in a pinch, they do work fast enough where I wouldn't have to worry about all the problems that I had earlier. That being said, my comm class is feeling pretty nice. You know, I'm not too interested in like the history of how things happen. I'm more interested in like probably the technologies or something like that. But we were talking about um, we were talking about like old newspapers and the first publishing outlets for the USA, for old USA, mind you. And I guess it was pretty interesting. I got to read an article about how to care for your hemp. So Any of you out there who wanted to know how to care for your hemp, I'm your man now. Um, I heard she's a pretty good teacher from the folks at SPTV who have already had like a bunch of communication classes. So that's I've got that going for me. And yeah, maybe this is a turnaround year for me. I don't know. I kind of feel this sort of thing about this semester. It it had something it I felt it a while I felt it like before making the before making these streams. Like I just have this feeling that I need to like start creating things and start doing things here because my first 2 years here have not been well. Okay, hang on. My first year and a half of being here haven't really been that eventful, if I should say. I did swimming the first year and a half, and I was okay at it. I wasn't like knock your socks off good, but I wasn't like terrible either. I was just on like the precipice of being like the status quo as far as how as far as like what we need for the team and stuff like that. And I like I never talked to the people that were on the team because like primarily I met them through social interactions as at parties and stuff like that. And me personally, I'm terrified of meeting new people, so normally need people to like talk to me first when I'm meeting new people, and I'm trying to work on that as best as I can. That's partly what this is for as well. Just getting myself to talk about things about my life because, that's a skill that I need in life. That's not even sarcasm, that's something I need to work on. I don't know. Just when I meet new people, I hardcore freeze up, and I really want to fix that. I don't know if I can fix that. I don't know if like I just haven't done anything interesting in my eyes, but that is how it is. And yeah, I never got any sort of like team unity aspect from the swim team at all. And that may be my fault, but at the same time, people definitely do treat people differently if they're good at things or not. And I don't know. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. That's a really shitty thing to do, and that's not what I'm here to do. It's probably my fault in the end, and I made some friends while I was on the swim team, so I made some pretty good friends as well, I should add. So that's as far as like meeting new people, I did what I came there to do, I guess, is what I'm gonna say. Um, Swimming, yeah, it was as far as like creating new things and stuff like that. It's a bit of a cliche at this point in like history, but I've I was sitting in my wildlife class because God forbid I actually think about things during that class. It's really boring. I don't like that class, but I have to do it because it's a gen ed. Um, I had this thought of like starting a gaming and maybe a skit channel. Maybe just like we could do like gameplay stuff like that, or just do like fun skits, things like that. It seems it wouldn't be like geared towards getting famous or like monetizing our shit or stuff like that, because like that's a really poor mindset to like start out with. I'm gonna like start out by just doing things I like and going from there. If people like it and people like start sharing about it, then that just happens. That's not what I'm like setting out to do. But right, the channel. This channel name that I had was a Quick Play. I thought it was a pretty interesting one, and as far as I know, no other channel has used that yet. So I made a channel, Quick Play, created a logo for it as well. It took me about like 3 tries to like get it to an acceptable look. I think it looks all right. The queue is the worst part of the whole thing, in my opinion. But maybe I can just show it to somebody and they'll be like, "Yeah, that looks good." And if they don't say it looks good, then I will go back to the drawing board for an hour to try and fix that damn queue because I personally I don't like it. But maybe nobody's gonna notice because it's just the profile picture. But if I am gonna do something like quick play, maybe I would like need a partner with it. I could definitely use a partner with it probably in that. This probably could just be a phase because I've been watching a bunch of Game Grumps lately, or just watching YouTube in general. But like, I don't know. I want to do something that I think is fun, and that seems really fun to me at the moment. And if I could do something like that, it's pretty good. I think that would be cool. I already am, well, technically part of the YouTube society at the school at the school, which hasn't accounted for a lot as far as like actual progression towards doing things goes. The one time I could have been involved in it, I had to go to a football game for SBTV, so I missed out on that front. They probably blocked me from the email list because of that, because I didn't show any like a commitment to anything. Um, I don't know. Maybe I could come back to it, see if they're still doing anything. Maybe it's just too early, and they just haven't done anything quite yet for that. But yeah, I kind of like the idea of quick play being a channel. What I the logo that I made for it was with like the replay sign with a arrow going through it for the Q and a lightning bolt with a D on it. Somebody's going down the elevator, so I'm gonna have to pause here. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'll learn to be brave one day. The quick play logo is like the Q as I mentioned before, and the P itself is like a lightning bolt for the line on the left of the P, and I used a D to like make the P part of it. Don't take that statement out of context. But once the week that I start getting going on like actually uploading stuff for that, then I'll put it on the picture for that stream. But um, yeah, if if the person that I ask wants to run with it, then by God, we'll run with it as far as we can. But it's probably more than likely going to be just a. It's probably more than likely just going to be that sort of thing that you do when you're bored and have nothing better to do. Uh, for yeah, this is the bad part about me, and I'm just realizing this now as I'm like getting further and further my head into the clouds and kind of doing things about it as well. I go on and on about all this like stuff that I want to do, stuff that I'm like planning on doing. I've been writing more about projects that I want to record and stuff like that, like Google Stadia, and I recently started writing for Cats, the Universal's Hairball. But I already started something like this earlier this year, as a matter of fact. Like last year, in November ish, I recorded something for Backyard Baseball, and that's just been sitting on my hard drive, not being worked on. And that's my own fault. I just haven't had the gusto to work on it again. And I could probably attribute that to Backyard Baseball being some sort of like a wave fascination, something that comes to me every so often, and once it happens, I feel like really good about it. But I need to I need to figure out how to work when not in passion projects, if that makes any sense. I need to figure out how to work on something and put it out to an acceptable way, even though it's not the greatest thing that possibly could be put out. One of those things that I kind of did do earlier this year was an introvert's guide to surviving college, but even that, it was just kind of like a subpar production in my idea. I got full points for it, but I think that was probably because I was one of the only people who did an original work other than curate three works. Because I don't know, I have a tendency to go for like if I'm not main if I'm not like doing the least I can, I do like way more than I probably should. For that class, I had to either like curate three works or create an original work, which either could amount to three memes or a 4 minute podcast, which, if you're going to look at the timestamp right now, is something that I could easily do without, like, I could easily fill space with just about anything, especially for 4 minutes. That's a breeze. But I decided to go with a web video, and it only had to be 90 seconds, but it turned out to be something around the ballpark of like 20 minutes or 15 minutes. And I had to like go in with a mindset of being like, this has to be short. Because as I've learned with the backyard baseball script, I tried to make that short and concise, but the recording times for like the voice put all together came around to like 30-ish minutes. I think it's pretty sizable for like just a random person making things, just like the random video you might find on the internet. But the thing is about the backyard baseball thing is that it wasn't even as in depth as I wanted it to be. Like, I wanted to go on and on about how different characters interacted with each other and how certain boosts get applied for certain characters, things like that. I know a lot about this game. I'm realizing, and it's just it's a childhood treasure. It's something that you grow up with, and it just sticks with you. We all have one of those things. Yeah, I'm learning that I just have a lot going on inside my head, and I just need to figure out a way to convey it with the maximum efficiency that I have. And that's what this is for, basically. Mostly. I don't know. And hopefully, as it goes on, I can do better in the projects that I am currently writing. The Google Stadia one just doesn't feel right with me to like start recording it and start getting on that. And I'm gonna like dive deeper into like rules for writers to like make sure it's like cohesive and actually works well as a script. So, I've got options to help me make sure this works well. At least I have that. And, if any of you are going to criticize me for not having like a performer's voice, this is me normally talking. This is like what this whole point was supposed to be, just me talking without like putting on an act, because I can put on an act. I can be like, just give me a moment. I can make it so that everything else that I talk about is punctual and impactful, and it makes it sort of like a little bit more better interesting to hear. You know that? It is something that I've worked on a couple times. And, I can do that no matter what. But that's not what this is about. This is not about me putting on a show for people. This is me trying to figure out how to just let myself go. And that's something that I've struggled really hard on in life, and this is my measure that I thought of to fix it. There you go. No expensive therapy needed. I'm just gonna pause because I have nothing to say for a second. I just had a Snapchat that I felt compelled to open and check. On the topic of Snapchats, I'm not feeling great about friends right now. It's not so much that they're being shitty and like being terrible people. They're great people. They're like that's why I mean I don't know. I feel like I have a good perception in how I choose friends, but the people that I hung out with earlier in my college career, I am slowly drifting apart from, and that mostly has to do with me not going to practice for swimming for a while. And I know why I don't go to swimming. It's because like I spend 2 hours a day there, wake up early in the morning, so I'm dead tired the rest of the day, don't pay attention in class, and I still have to go to another practice that same day. And it's like, yes, it's keeping me in shape, and yes, I feel good about swimming, and swimming is a lot of fun for me, but at what point am I just not able to do it? I just I went on for as long as I can, and my grades have suffered tremendously because I really believe I do not have what it takes to be a college student athlete. And I haven't really told anybody on the swim team that I'm going to stop swimming. At least for this semester, I don't exactly know if I am going to continue swimming next semester or not. This semester was just kind of like a recentering for me because I came in with like a vague idea of what I was gonna do. I was looking into clinical lab science for as a major. I then failed Chem 106, and that was not gonna fly. So this semester I'm looking at media studies, and as I'm learning and doing more stuff with like production and even doing this, even just talking to myself in a microphone in an isolated environment, I realize that I enjoy this way more than I ever did counting blood cells in the middle of a scientific area. So at least I have that going for me, but at the same time, now swimming has just fallen by the wayside. And because of that, I haven't been able to stay in touch with the people that I uh, started my college career with. And I'm going to be. I don't know. I'm really scared that I'm just like dead terrified that if I stop swimming, then I may get left on the wayside for just because I'm not like part of the swim team or something. I it's long story short, I signed an off-campus lease with some of the people that I swimming with, and this this all happened while I was still like in the kick of swimming. But as after I signed it in like September or October, I've slowly like started to realize I am not getting enough time to do my classes and swim at the same time because I am either too tired to do my work or I just simply do not get the time that I need to just like figure stuff out at a pace that I want to do it at. And so I've been going to like less and less practices, utilizing that time to get better grades in my classes. And to be fair, once I did start focusing more on school, I did get better grades. I'm not the greatest class taker in the world, but once I cut out one thing like that, it got a lot better. I was able to study more, be prepared for tests, not have to get up super damn early just to hate myself as I walked through that, as I ran through the exercises, and like I'm just scared that I'll be I'm scared that I'll be crucified because I'm going to be a non-swimmer in a swimmer house. And I really don't know if they'll be accepting of that or if they'll force me to just leave. And like they're nice people. They're very nice people. But it's just I have no clue what will happen, and I'm terrified to admit to them that I'm not thinking of swimming anymore. I'm more thinking about this kind of stuff. And I just don't know what I don't know what the reaction will be. I don't know if it'll be fine to them. It's all up in the air, and I'm terrified. But that's enough about that. I was gonna look at my notebook for something funny to talk about. Uh, but yeah, on the topic of classes and not doing well in them, my natural histories class got really, really confusing on one day. We were talking about, um, we were talking about, let's see, 4630. Gonna have to jump to that to edit it out. Where's a pen? I'll just. Anyway, we were talking about like philosophies in history. We were talking about like some sort of thing that Plato wrote, and it's the cave thing, the cave analogy, where he was just like going on and on about who knows what and who really cares, and I was visibly lost, and that was, and the teacher called me out on it and told me to meet him after class to like talk about this kind of stuff, which is really a first for me, and I really appreciate he did that because I was actually just not getting any of it. But what it came down to was I what he wanted us to do was like learn that we need to question the context of history and like writing and how writing can sometimes be full of biases and stuff like that. And we need to like take our own perspective into account when looking at things, and how just like all these things can affect how history and science has become just like less and less objective as we really like go on or something like that. And questioning things and like where it comes from is something I already kind of do, being as how I make fun of every single Google ad I see on YouTube to be like, wow, glad this is unskippable, Google. Really, really want to push your products. I don't know. I feel like it's something that I already have an ability of, and I really didn't need to go and sit in an hour and a half long class to learn about again. But c'est la vie. I pay. I'm gonna pay for that sooner. I'm gonna pay for that later in my life, so I might as well just enjoy the ride while I can. I Other than like natural history and wildlife, I don't think I have any classes that I like genuinely just don't like. And the two that I mentioned before is just they're just really boring to me. It's something that I can like put my head down and like push through, but it's just like I don't really have a class that I don't like. With the others being the two communication classes, which one of them is helping me get a better outlook in for the rest of my career, and the other one is just history of media, which I think is pretty neat. I get to learn about how like certain things made other things obsolete, stuff like that. Um, And the other thing that's left is script analysis, which is interesting in and of itself, but like the climate itself is intimidating for me and me alone. Because as I said before, everybody that is a theater major, like literally courses through that building like like they are the blood vessels, and the building it's the theater department's beating heart. And I just the thing is just like everybody knows everybody there, and I'm just like the outlier, just being like, "Yep, I did plays in high school, but I'm not a major here." Thinking about a major, I'm thinking about it a lot less now, but you know, it was there at one point. Then I just like feel very left out in that class. There was a bunch of moments where they were talking about certain stuff in the plays itself. I would make a suggestion which would be kind of like half heard. To be fair, I'm very tentative about what I say as well. So maybe they're just taking what I say. They're not taking what I say often because I don't sound sure about myself. And that's fine. That's all right. But I made it like a legitimate claim to something at one point, and I was like 100% ignored. It was a great moment. And they're always like really just kind of like full of themselves when they're there. Maybe that's just like a look into the mirror when I was the high school theater kid. But like they asked one girl asked the group, or like a talking group, what they what she phrased it as, what do you think of the other what do you think of us, by the way? And I'm like, "Oh, yes, finally, this is going to be my in to like actually start talking to people, because I can say something like, well, I'm kind of scared of everybody because I'm kind of like terrified of new people, but I'm trying to work on that, something like that. Something to like get people to know like, hey, I am a little bit of a problem child and I need some help to talk to you guys because I can't do that on my own." In actuality, she was talking to the other person that was there, who was like not an acting major or something like that, like not doing the same thing that she was doing. She was referring to when the acting majors like stormed in, all talking and laughing about what they were doing before that class, and just like she wanted to know if they were being too loud or something like that. And she rounded it off with like, I guess it's just kind of hard to pin down us acting majors, which that really didn't feel set right with me. I don't know why, but it just made me feel really bad all over. But the point of that whole thing was just like, you know, I guess it doesn't matter what I think about anybody there. Nobody cares that I am there. So I'm just gonna learn about script analysis, learn how to analyze scripts, and that's gonna be it. I'm not gonna talk to anybody. I'm not gonna learn anybody's names. I'm just gonna be there, and they'll be fine with just leaving me in my own little space, apparently. It's not gonna be any easier once Mamma Mia starts up again. Which, funny enough, is another example of how the theater group is such a fenced off crowd. I signed up for a theater practicum last semester, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically just a theater major's way of getting like experience during like theater. They're just productions that get put on, and people can get credits for it. I signed up to it, and the way I thought it worked was that we like go up, sign up to like be whatever you want, And if you wanted to be a performer, then there would be a casting call later that day or later that week or something like that. If you wanted to be part of the stage crew, you could do that. There was also like PR teams and video production teams. I probably should have gone for either of those, but I was, I came to this to do like the stage thing, so damn it, I was gonna do the stage thing. I get all the way to putting my name and ID number on the sign up sheet for the performance people, and then I realize every single person has a role signed up that they have signed up for, and none of them overlap, which I immediately thought was odd because like these are theater people. Every single and if I know theater people, they have really high opinions of themselves, except for when, somebody's obviously better than them. But these are college theater people. Every single one of them thinks they're better than everybody else. So I was looking for the name of the main character of the musical I was showing up, like Mamma Mia. I was originally just going to put any role there and leave, which would have been a major mistake because I would have had a call immediately after. But I talked to the person behind the desk and they were like, "So what role were you cast in?" And inside I'm thinking like, when the hell were there casting calls for this? Because like I didn't see any, I didn't get any email alerts because I was, signed up for the class. I probably should have gotten identification of when the casting calls were put out. The equal opportunity kind of thing, type of thing, operation. At any rate, the point of it was that you had to sign up for a role that you already have, which to me is a supreme act of redundancy. But whatever. I sign up for to be part of the stage crew, which when I did sign up for it at the time I did was about two people, including myself. So either the people that were after our group really filled it out, or I'm going to have a terrible time during that production. And I'm still waiting on the emails for it, and if by like March or April I don't hear anything about it, then I can just assume that there was posters uh, the in the Fine Arts Center that I just didn't see because, why would they send things outward? I also tried to Now that I'm thinking about it, I also tried to like send an email to the theater department to like ask them about any sort of like theater majors or something like that, and I didn't get any response back from them. So I also said like I was also a student at UWSP and currently undecided, and I was just like, why is this stuff so closed off when it was so like open to everybody in my high school? Probably because I was at a like very low, but probably because I was at like very low end high school and they just kind of took whoever they could get. But I thought it was fun. Our high school musicals were, I feel like, a cut above what you would find around the area. They're not like Broadway material by any stretch of the means, but we took pride in them at the very least. That's whatever. It is what it is. And, you know, that and if I like wanted to do any sort of acting major for that, I would have to completely restart my college career, which that's a big old nope right there. I don't call me crazy, but I don't necessarily need classes to learn how to act. I can kind of get away with what I can do right now. It's not rocket science. Just be who you are meant to be on the being play thing. I don't know. It's just kind of something me and my brother have always been able to do. Just kind of put ourselves in a situation and be able to act it out as in a in a mediocre manner. It's not great by any means, but I feel like if I were ever to take a class for acting, I would like lose my marbles so fast. Because like even in script analysis, they're just using like Scrabble words to describe things, and they're just like going on about how this bird and who like rung it up or something like that. And I'm just there like I didn't read it close enough, and I mistook Frank for John Wright. For any of you who don't know, that was we read Trifles just earlier, and yeah, I thought Mrs. Wright killed Frank because at some point they said something about like going to find Frank, and I just thought that her husband was Frank Wright. When it turns out Frank was a servant and John Wright was the husband. I just need to read better. That's all it comes to. At any rate, that's uh, that's really that's really all that I can come up with. I gotta sign off by talking about SBTV because that's getting some interesting developments that I didn't think would actually happen. Um, this new guy came in. He's like part of the production team for SBTV, and he's just like he came in and was talking about. Well, first of all, for SBTV, I got to anchor for that for the entertainment segment, so that was pretty fun. And all those apprehensions I had about keeping my identity secret in the first installment of this is out the window because A, I could probably be building a resume right now with this whole thing, and B, I just don't give a damn anymore. But SBTV like started. Well, this guy just like come in and is like talking about the it's doing new promotional videos for like their commercials or advertisements or stuff like that, and I'm really excited about it because it could like actually be stuff for like act like regular installments for like fun stuff. I don't know. It's just I need some jump start to make me do things, and I feel like this is a good way to for that to start. I'm I don't know. I work in very weird ways. I know that myself, and I'm trying to make myself work in a more logical way and more able to function well. But until that time comes, I'm just gonna be waiting for those productions to like get off the ground, and maybe I could like send in a couple of ideas of what we could do there. I had an idea after that meeting was done. I had an idea of like Photoshop heroes or PR heroes. Basically, basically what it would amount to was um, two two players would, armed with the powers of Photoshop and Lightroom, would create either like a banner or picture to promote a club at Stevens Point. And it could be like an athletic club, like a niche club, like the video game club, something like that. Just any sort of thing to like promote this club that doesn't get a lot of recognition or something like that. And we would have to like approve it with a club or something like that. They probably would be fine with us creating free promotional art for them. They would be given a time limit of like how long they could work on that stuff, and as they worked, I could like interview them, stuff like that. I could probably give them like 30 minutes of time. It wouldn't be a 30-minute show. I would like cut in between and like ask them what they were doing, stuff like that. It all just depends how easy it is to create things with Photoshop, because in my personal experience of using Photoshop, it's really hard. Like I was mentioning before, how the Q and the Quick Play logo was my least favorite thing, and that was because I didn't think about using a border for it until like way later. And the border I have for it now was me taking a line and skewing it to the best of my possibilities to like fit around the Q itself. And it looks awful if you like really look at it. From far away, it's kind of passable, but you can definitely see some like uh some inconsistency is in line thickness, and that uh really annoys me. It's it's whatever. But maybe if I gauge how like the two best Photoshop users that SPTV has, and maybe I can like gauge of how long that would be, and maybe it can get put into a 10-minute, 15-minute show. It would like it would show off how good we are at making stuff at SPTV, and it would also promote other clubs and such, and it would also promote other clubs and such at Stevens Point. I think that's a pretty good idea, but I'll wait more and see how the first couple of shows work out, and then I'll start floating around ideas. That's just something I also need to work on, being able to confidently speak out ideas, because I've had a bunch of ideas for a while, but I've never acted upon them until right now, apparently. Which, first step to doing it is just to do it. And that's really all I've got to say. So, if you made it this far, then thank you for like just listening to me talk. And if you're me from the future trying to regain your memories, stay strong, man.